On any given Friday the 13th, these 13 faces would be enough to keep you away from camps, dark basements, and mirrors. But who are the real people behind the most terrifying villains in cinema? Today, we'll take a look at how the actors and actresses who brought our worst nightmares to life are doing now. A journey from past to present, with those who turned the number 13 into not just a symbol of bad luck, but a milestone of excellence in horror cinema. Shall we? 1. Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger. In the 80s, Robert Englund transformed into a generation's nightmare. With metal claws and a burned face, he created Freddy Krueger, the dream killer. He mixed macabre humor with pure terror, making millions fear going to sleep. At 77 years old, Englund remains active at conventions worldwide. Though physically retired from the role, he's open to voicing Freddy in animation. He maintains an official website, lovingly interacting with fans, proving his legacy is eternal. 2. Davey Chase, Samara Morgan, The Ring. In 2002, a 12-year-old girl terrorized the world. Davey Chase created Samara, the ghost who crawled out of TVs with wet hair. Her broken movements made millions fear their own televisions. At 34 years old, Chase maintains her career in voice acting. Though away from the spotlight after personal struggles, she remains active on social media. Samara continues haunting new generations through memes and tributes. 3. Linda Blair, Regan McNeil, The Exorcist. In 1973, at 13 years old, Linda Blair created cinema's most terrifying possession. Head spinning 360 degrees, demonic voice and horrifying makeup made audiences faint in theaters worldwide. At 65 years old, Blair dedicated her life to animal rights activism. She founded a sanctuary for abused animals and participates in Exorcist documentaries, discussing the physical and emotional impact of the role. 4. Tony Todd, Candyman. Say my name 5 times. Tony Todd transformed Candyman into a living urban legend. With a hook replacing his hand and bees emerging from his chest, he created an eloquent villain mixing terror with social commentary on racism. Tony Todd passed away in November 2024 at 69, leaving an immense legacy in horror. His Candyman remains a cultural icon, influencing a new generation of directors. He died as a respected and beloved legend among fans. Five. Anthony Hopkins, Hannibal Lecter. In just 16 minutes of screen time, Anthony Hopkins created the ultimate intellectual predator. Hannibal Lecter slid into victims' minds with surgical precision, the cannibal who preferred Chianti to his victims' screams. At 87 years old, Sir Anthony maintains an extraordinary career. Winning another Oscar for The Father in 2021, he transcended Lecter, working from Shakespeare to Marvel, remaining cinema's greatest villain. Six. Doug Bradley, Pinhead, Hellraiser. We have such sights to show you. Doug Bradley transformed pins and leather into a terror icon. Pinhead offered suffering as art, exploring the limits between pain and pleasure with sinister elegance. At 70 years old, Bradley remains active with new projects, including voice work for Invincible and podcasts. Though he hasn't played Pinhead since 2005, he expresses interest in returning for an official adaptation. 7. Ghostface, Scream. A mask inspired by the Scream hid multiple killers, revolutionizing horror. Ghostface demolished the fourth wall, mocking victims with knowledge of slasher movie tropes through distorted phone calls. After 30 years, Ghostface became the most recognizable horror symbol. The 2022-2023 films successfully rebooted the franchise, maintaining the original mask design as the most popular Halloween costume. 8. Kane Hodder, Jason Voorhees, Friday the 13th. Kane Hodder gave soul to Crystal Lake's killer. Through panting breath and predatory head tilts, he transformed Jason from simple slasher into an implacable and terrifying force of nature. At 69, Hodder diversified into other horror roles and is beloved at conventions. He vulnerably discusses scars from career burn injuries. His interpretation remains the definitive standard for Jason. 9. Gunnar Hansen, Leatherface, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The chainsaw's roar announced the birth of modern visceral horror. Gunnar Hansen, suffocating under a human skin mask, created a voiceless monster. His chainsaw dance remains the pure expression of primitive chaos. Hansen passed away in 2015 at 68, having become a respected writer and documentarian. Before his death, he embraced his legacy through conventions and wrote Chainsaw Confidential, analyzing the film's cultural importance. Bonnie Aarons, The Nun. From monastery shadows emerged a demon that profaned the sacred. Bonnie Aarons transformed the symbol of religious devotion into an avatar of evil. Without digital effects, just makeup-enhancing natural features created a disturbing specter. At 65 years old, Aarons remains a prominent figure in horror after the success of The Nun 2 in 2023. She balances her career between horror roles and other projects, proving practical effects still resonate. 11. Nick Castle, Michael Myers, Halloween. Behind William Shatner's mask painted white, primitive evil found its perfect form. Nick Castle brought Myers meditative, predatory patience and curious head tilts that defined the character. At 77, Castle returned to wear the mask in key scenes of the 2018 and 2021 films. Though his main career is directing, he embraces his legacy as the original shape in cast reunions. 12. Tobin Bell, Jigsaw, Saw. I want to play a game. Tobin Bell reinvented the horror villain for the age of existential anxiety, a twisted moral philosopher offering chances to value life through impossible choices and ingenious traps. At 81, Bell continued portraying Jigsaw even after the character's death. In recent Saw X, he maintained central presence through flashbacks, exploring the twisted moral philosophy with growing depth. 13. Bill Skarsgård, Pennywise, It. From the sewer emerged an ancestral nightmare disguised as a clown. Bill Skarsgård distorted his own humanity, contorting eyes in opposite directions. A cosmic predator whose hunger was for the most delicious flavor, innocent fear. At 34 years old, Skarsgård returns as Pennywise in HBO's It, Welcome to Derry series. He diversifies his career with Nosferatu, The Crow, and Locked with Anthony Hopkins, proving versatility beyond horror. Behind the masks, makeup and special effects, we find extraordinary artists who dedicated their talent to exploring our deepest fears. Some became living legends, others left immortal legacies. Now, you know both the nightmares and those who brought them to life. On the next Friday the 13th, remember, the true masters of fear are those who make us believe. Until next time, folks.